warm welcome to you. This is Afternoon Express, and I am back, baby. Not only with our resident chef, Dumi. How you doing, girl?
I'm so excited. I don't know why, Palesa, but I'm very excited today. I'm feeling very good. It doesn't have anything to do with our guest in the show today.
I literally was about to say, I've got an inkling as to why Dumi is so excited today. Help me welcome to the loft for the very first time, Chef Pete. How you doing?
It's really cool to be here. Thoroughly enjoying get stuck in cooking this afternoon.
Absolutely. Cool. Now, chicken is an all-round favorite, and the star of today's Afternoon Express Masterclass with me, PALESA Dembe. We have accomplished Chef Pete Goffe-Wood in the kitchen today, and he's going to be preparing with us 3 ways of enjoying a chicken. Number 1, peri-peri drumlift served with garlic bread, stuffed whole roasted chicken with some honey mustard glaze, and then we're ending it off with a schnitzel and creamy pepper sauce. Now, Dumi, I read a whole lot of savory treats. Do you have dessert?
Palesa, we always have dessert. There's always got to be that sweet treat, and that's going to be a delicious ginger pudding.
Can't wait. Now, Chef, I mean, 35 years is nothing to play with, but your journey started many a moon ago. eThekwini.
Yeah, no. I've been very blessed. I've had a fantastic career that's taken me all over the world, cooking with some fabulous people in some fabulous places. I'm very, very blessed to have had a fantastic career thus far.
Now, something else that you're very good at, that whole flexibility, being able to adapt, and you have adapted to the current times. You are delivering home services. In fact, I'm just so obsessed with the name of your business, Chef Pete's Home Happiness. Now, tell me how you're bringing happiness into people's homes.
Well, it's just one of those things. It's a result of lockdown. I think it's a result of everything we're going through, particularly in the hospitality and tourism industry. You can't sit back and wait for things to change, to go back to the way they were. You've got to get out there and reinvent yourself, or just look for work. And that was, for me, I realized that people weren't going to restaurants, but they were still eating, and they still wanted to eat out. The same sort of caliber of food, if it wasn't the same restaurant fiddly food, but food of that caliber. So I figured there was a market there to start bringing that kind of food to people's homes, and that's how Home Happiness started. That
a lot of people have different opinions. First of all, how to prepare chicken. Secondly, how to partition a chicken.
Yes.
You know, chicken hygiene, partitioning a chicken, and then how to prepare the different parts of a chicken. So can you just show us, number 1, Utumi was saying that this itself, it looks like a battle. You said we're about to go into battle. Yeah. So can you just talk us through all the above?
So I think I'm going to start with just cutting the chicken into bits. So we'll roast something like this, but if you want to cut it into pieces, we're going to start by taking off our wings. So basically you're just taking through the joints.
Okay.
Each of these joints just pop off.
So that's almost like a cheat, if you just look for a joint and then cut through.
Well, that's the beauty of it, you see, because it's interesting to note that if you buy a whole chicken, it's actually cheaper than buying chicken pieces.
Yeah.
Because you're basically paying someone to cut it up for you. So now we've got our legs. So now we take our thighs, we make a little incision here, and again, we just
pull apart.
Pop that out, the little on the bone there. Take that through.
Wow. Now, look, this is the right way to butcher a chicken. I normally have all the shredded pieces everywhere. I'm telling you, it's a mess.
Makes great sauce. And then here we can just take off the drumstick.
Okay.
There we go. And then we do the same again on this side.
Now, Chef, as you are just taking apart the chicken, as we are paying attention, then you also get those insides, the livers, the giblets, the hearts. How then do we prepare stuff like that?
Well, we're going to use some of the livers in one of our recipes today, but it depends what it is that you want to do. The gizzards, for example, that you slow cook for an hour or two in a little bit of stock with some vegetables, and then they're really nice to crisp up under a grill. Lots of peri-peri. So I use the necks. I usually use the necks in stock and that kind of stuff. Chop that up, roast it off with some bones, throw that into a stock. So now we're going to take this breast off of the bone. So we just make an incision through here, through the back. Then we just cut along the breastbone.
Wow, Dumi, so you see why we need this little bit of an axe.
Yeah.
It literally is like cutting like a knife through butter. That's how sharp that knife is.
There we go.
Wow.
And then we do the same on the other side, just either side of the breastbone, all the way down to the back, through the wishbone.
And then you slice it open, just like that. I mean, Chef has made it look super simple, but essentially this entire masterclass, we are celebrating the chicken, showing you different ways to prepare it and how to enjoy its different pieces and parts. Now that we've got a breakdown on the different ways to prepare a chicken, it's time to put this knowledge to the test. Don't move a muscle, because we're about to bring you 4 delicious recipes.
With the creamy decadence of double cream bliss from Clover, yogurt has never been so irresistible.
Made with love by Clover.
Now that we know how to separate our chicken, we know the different ways of preparing the chicken, let's put the knowledge to the test. Now, you know how much I love my chicken drumsticks, and I love them even better when they're hot, hot, hot. So get ready, as we're about to bring some drumsticks dripping with peri-peri sauce made with Clover Bliss double cream yogurt. Now, Tumi, let me in on this. I can see you already started chopping away. It's about that peri-peri heat.
Yes, Palesa, and there's nothing better to cool down that heat than a beautiful, creamy, thick bliss yogurt, Clover Bliss yogurt, and that's exactly what we're going to put into this dish. But I'm getting started because we're serving this with a beautiful garlic bread. So all I need for that is our parsley, some butter, some thyme. I've got some salt and a bit of garlic that's going into that. I feel, for me, like garlic bread is not garlic bread without garlic. So I've got a whole lot of garlic going in there.
I want to see that. It will
actually be garlic bread if it didn't have any garlic.
It wouldn't be. And then, Chef, you're getting the peri-peri chicken part for us, and Bale will be grating up some tomatoes for you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, fantastic. So all I've done is I'm just starting in the pan here. I've got some diced onions. Let's get some more heat on the go here. But what I have started to do is I want to get a little bit of chicken, a little colour on my drumsticks.
Yeah.
So we got these in the pan, a little bit of salt and pepper on those, and now we're just getting a nice bit of colour so that when they go into the sauce, they also a little bit of spice and crispness from the skin, so they don't look all pale and anemic.
Yeah.
Right. I've got some onions in here, a little bit of colour on those. They're looking lacquer. And I've just got some chilies that are going to go in here. I've got some ground cardamom and some peri-peri. I'm just going to cut these chilies off. You can, if you really don't want it too hot, take the seeds out. I like the seed. That's where the action is, as far as I'm concerned.
telling you, Pete, you throw that in there. Do not. What I love about it is that it's okay for us to add as much heat that we want within this recipe, because we're going to be almost balancing out the flavors. That's how I like to think about it.
Yeah.
Balancing out that peri-peri flavor with our delicious Clover Bliss double cream plain yogurt. Dumi, you've got it in the plain flavor, ne?
Correct, Palesa. I've got it in the plain flavor and in the 1 kg pack.
Oh, and on my side, I've got a bit of a sweet treat here. Yes, they do come in different sizes. So the 500 gram, I've got it here in the strawberries and cream flavor, but my incredible, most favorite snackable size is the 175 gram. I've got it here in Black Forest flavor, and I just love to snack on this on the go, but today we're going to be using it in our recipe. So it's going to balance out that chilliness.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll add the fattiness to it as well. It really does add nice acidity to the tomato sauce as well. So my onions are on the go. I'm going to throw my little peri-peri in there and my ground cardamom. I just want to fry the spices off a little bit more before we add the tomatoes, and then let this cook down. And by then our chicken will be nice and nice bit of colour on it.
Yeah.
We'll pop the chicken, the drumsticks, into the sauce and let them. Not only will they cook, but they'll also impart a nice flavour, nice richness to the sauce itself.
Brilliant. Dumi, on your section, how is it going there?
It's going okay, Palesa. I'm actually just chopping up some of our parsley in here, because that's also going to go into the butter that we're making, sort of like a compound butter.
Okay. Chef, I think your tomatoes are pretty done. We've decided to go with grating the tomato here. Is that going to help with creating that paste, that flavour? Why specifically grated?
It cooks down much quicker. What you find is the skin breaks up as well by grating it, and so I'm just going to pour this in, and it'll just start to cook down nicely. Oh, there we go. Check it out.
I love that.
And it's quicker than chopping it.
It is.
Well, I mean, a lot of people do say that, but sometimes I just love the skin. I love to interact with my tomato in my mouth. Dumi, when it comes to this recipe, top tips. You know, I'm always about a top tip girl, because I've always been the type of cook that just throws everything into a pot and hope for the best. But I want to really learn how to keep the integrity of a dish. Chef is judging me. Okay, so let's fix that.
I think Chef has actually nailed it, because he mentioned about this type of dish, that what kind of meat works best. In this instance, because of the type of dish we're making, using the thighs works definitely. The thighs and the drumstick works perfectly in that. So maybe it's all about pairing the right type of dish with the right cut of meat, depending on how long you're going to cook the dish for?
Yeah, definitely, because if we want this to cook down so it's nice and thick and luscious, and if we put breast into this, by the time that it cooked down, the breast would have been a little bit on the dry side. So the drumsticks are perfect. I've also got a little bit of chutney here, some fruit chutney, which I'm going to put into here. And that's just going to add a little bit of sweetness. The tomatoes often need it. Even when they've been grated, the acidity of tomatoes, you sometimes need a little bit of sweetness just to balance out those tomatoes.
Beautiful.
And since we're talking about balancing, I might as well balance my side as well and add some of this beautiful, decadent, creamy and thick clover bliss plain yogurt palesa. You know, like, we've been making curries the last couple of weeks now, and people have been listening to the fact that we're saying it helps with balancing the flavor.
Yeah.
But even with this type of recipe, because of the spiciness and the heat that we're adding there, it helps with that, bringing it down a bit, and also thickening up with the sauce as well.
And also, there's always that nice, sharp, that acidity from you know, as opposed to just regular cream. You get a nice little added kick from the flavour of the yogurt as well.
I did not think about that. And also what I love about it is not only is it helping with the creaminess, the decadence and the thickness, but also Bliss is a source of 10 vitamins. It's kosher and halal. So basically, it doesn't matter the dietary requirements you might have in your household. This is certainly going to deliver. Now, Dumi, as you are just putting together that garlic bread. Now, garlic bread doesn't need a lot of time in the oven, right?
Not at all. Not at all, Palesa. All we're trying to do here, as you can see with some that I've made a little earlier, you just want it to be nice and crisp so that when we dunk it into that sauce, it basically holds, yes, that's exactly what we want. That reaction, chef, is what we're aiming for. So that's all I'm doing here. We're going to melt it in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes just to get it nice and crisp, and that's it.
Okay. Chef, on your side, how long would you just eyeball it for it to be done?
I reckon maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops. And while the chicken will cook in the sauce, all that lovely chicken flavour will leach out, make the sauce even more tasty, and it'll also start to thicken up. Because of the grating, we'll cook the water off quite quickly. It'll reduce down, and we'll have this thick, luscious, fiery peri-peri sauce, which hopefully you will love.
I can assure you. Now, to get your hands on this recipe, because you're going to love it too, just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. Now, from drumsticks to the whole shebang. Coming up, we're going to go all in with a stuffed whole roast chicken with honey mustard glaze recipe.
Express yourself.
welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, Chef Pete, we're on to our second recipe.
Yes, indeed.
Now, it promises to be a hot one, it promises to be delicious, but we're still focusing on chicken. Now, the beauty of cooking with chicken is that you can have a variety of parts and pieces to choose from. So we've chosen the whole chicken. We've decided to try a divine stuffed whole roast chicken with honey and mustard glaze. And Chef Pete is going to show us how. Now, before we get into the method, you know, it's all about getting it right. What do we need?
We're going to be stuffing our chicken, and into that we're going to have some bacon and some onion, as well as some sausage, chicken livers. Like you said, Chef, we're using the whole chicken.
Yeah.
So we're even putting some chicken livers into that balance, some breadcrumbs, eggs, and then you're going to make the glaze for us. I'm actually going to get started with our onion. Chef, you can do your thing.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the rest of the stuffing. As I said, this is where we get to use up the rest of the chicken. I've got some roughly chopped chicken livers. You could cut up the hearts and the gizzards and use that in as well. So that we're using everything. So I've got the chopped chicken livers here. I'm just using sausage, beef sausage meat. You could use meat. You could use mince if you wanted. But I quite like the fact that the sausage meat is got a nice fat content and it's seasoned. So it adds an extra bit of flavour to it.
So if we were to just continuously add more different varieties to this, South Africans can go wild in terms of the stuffing.
Oh, without a doubt. I think stuffing is kind of the limits of your imagination. You could put some olives through this, some sun-dried tomatoes, different herbs. You could add little bits of, say, halloumi cheese or something like this. You really could go quite berserk with the stuffing for the chicken. And as I said, this actually works really, really well for turkey. So it's a kind of recipe that you can keep, and come the end of the year, you can add this to your favourite bird. I've got some roughly chopped sage here, which is going to go in. Sage is a beautiful, and there's also a little bit of dried tarragon that we've added to that.
Well, Chef, can I also add some garlic?
You can indeed.
I'm going to add some garlic here, and then I'm also going to give Tumi some garlic. I love myself some garlic in the winter in every and all recipes. Hopefully that those are big enough to incorporate. Sometimes people like to put the whole roasted garlic inside.
Yeah, the smaller is better because then it'll break down and cook better.
Okay.
And so the garlic flavour will be released into the chicken and to the rest of the stuffing.
Stunning. Now, Chef, we are creating a beautiful masterpiece with our whole chicken today. It's going to be going into the oven for roasting, but I always seem to get it wrong when it comes to roasting a full chicken. Because it's not in pieces, there are different thickness within the chicken, ne? So how do I make sure that the entire chicken is cooked thoroughly, but also not overcooked or undercooked in other parts?
Okay, so the secret, although it's not something we can do with the stuffing, but if you're cooking this, because I'm imagining that you probably wouldn't do stuffing, you just roast the chicken on its own.
Just as is.
I thought that might be the case. The trick is, most chicken, this is probably about, I would say, 1.1, 1.2 kilos. It's likely to take about 45 to 50 minutes in the oven. But the secret is, when you've got it, okay, obviously you can't do it when it's cooking.
Yeah.
When in the oven, just lift it up. And you'll see all the juices run out of the cavity. When those juices are clear, then the chicken is cooked.
Okay,
so what happens, you'll notice in the first 10, 15 minutes you lift it up, and it's quite dark because that's the blood from inside the bird. When it gets towards the end of the cooking, when you can just lift the whole tray up and sort of lift it towards itself, and you'll see that, and when those juices are clear, then the chicken is ready.
I like that. Tumi, as you're continuing there, I'm on the honey mustard glaze. I've got the honey. I have got, is this some lemon juice, Tumi?
Yep.
That is some lemon juice, Vale.
I've got some mustard here. And then, of course, we've got this beauty, and I can already feel like that is melted down butter.
Correct.
Love that. And it's all just getting mixed into that. That's easy.
That it is.
All right, Chef, I'm going to go and spoon in some of our additional ingredients. So should I put it into the bowl?
Actually, put it straight into the bowl.
Straight into the bowl.
Straight into this. And the beauty of this is this nice added fat now to this.
Yes, meaning that your stuffing also will be nice and juicy instead of it drying out. Right, another trick, Palesa, to making sure that your chicken, especially if you're roasting chicken, so that it doesn't tear. I don't know if you've noticed some people have chicken and then it tears, the skin doesn't look as nice and golden, is because you're taking your chicken straight out of the fridge and then putting all the flavors on it and straight into the oven. That then causes the chicken to tear. So it is best, I'm not going to say at room temperature, but it is best to take your chicken out of the fridge some time ahead of time before putting it into the oven or cooking it, because that'll help with making sure it keeps its integrity and looks as beautiful as this little bird we've got over here.
Trying to keep the skin on, making sure that skin doesn't fall apart. I like that tip. That normally does happen to me. Now, Chef, what's the next part? I see you've got
Okay, we're going to stuff the bird first before we glaze it, because otherwise the glaze is going to go. So I've just added some fresh breadcrumbs to this and a couple of eggs.
That's 35 years, but I've been wanting to do that. I can never get it right. The one-handed maneuver, whatever that is.
That happens when you work in large hotels and you're a trainee and they say, right, you've got to do breakfast for 300 people.
Sure. Wow.
And they give you boxes and boxes of eggs that you have to crack for scrambled egg and stuff. You learn to do it very, very quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to add my onions and my garlic, my nice chunky garlic and bacon to this. Ideally...
I felt that shot, that chunky garlic. Okay, it all goes into the same mixing bowl.
Yeah, ideally, we let the bacon and the onion cool down, but because this is going to go straight into the bird and into the oven, it's not a train smash. Just get some seasoning in there, a bit of salt and pepper.
Chef, whilst you're just putting in those finishing touches, because we do want to see you put that stuffing into the bird, I just want to wrap things up and tell South Africa where to get this incredible recipe, because, I mean, I want you to try the whole thing. I'm talking about the thighs, the wings, and everything in between, and you can too. So to get your hands on this recipe, just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za for the full ingredients list. Now, Domi, please may you just come a little closer to help Chef put this together. Sure. Here's the bird. Whilst I let South Africa know what we're going to be making coming up. Now, breaded, fried chicken just hits the spot. So when we come back, we're going to be filling the craving as we make chicken schnitzels served with a creamy pepper sauce.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, Chef Pete, we are focusing on the chicken, the different ways of preparing the chicken. We've almost gotten through the entire chicken other than the breast.
Yes.
So you ready for it?
Yes, indeed. This is going to be the quickest one because we don't want it to dry out, so it's a nice, quick and easy recipe.
Keen for it. Now, we are still in the colder months, and nothing keeps you warm like a creamy pepper sauce served on a top of crispy but juicy chicken schnitzel. And that is exactly what we're about to make. Chef Dumi, now, you know, for me, the chicken breast is so difficult to get right. I love the fact that you're dancing your way through this, because I hope that it's going to be as easy.
That's the thing, Palesa. The one thing I love about this recipe is that you've got the luxury of getting it right. It's probably one of the simplest recipes that you can make, because all you want to do is flash fry your chicken schnitzel. I'm going to be making that peppery sauce that we're going to be serving this alongside. And in that sauce, we've got some onion, butter, peppers, some whole grain mustard, cream, and some vegetable stock. All of that tied together with some butter. And you, Bali, I see, are already getting into it and getting our eggs cracked for chef and whisk. And you'll be mashing up some potatoes that we're going to be serving this dish with.
But as you did say, I am on the mashed potato station. Super simple, super straightforward. Dumi, on your station there with that sauce, how's it going?
Palesa, I've started up by just toasting up our pepper, because this is a pepper sauce. So I just toasted it, and I just added our butter now, and I'm going to add the rest of our ingredients to basically have that flavor, you know, those layers of flavor, rather. That's what I'm looking for. And into there, I'm going with my onion and then some whole grain mustard.
I'm going to just batten out this chicken breast, because what we want is to make it thinner so it cooks quicker, so that the crumbs and stuff don't burn before the chicken is ready. So you can use a rolling pin. I'm fortunate enough to have a massive cleaver, so I can just...
Okay.
Hack the life out of that.
give it some stick with a knife, but you can just use a rolling pin if you're that way inclined. Okay, so then we've got here some seasoned flour, salt, pepper. We've got some spices in here. This is where you can go to town if you wanted to make this, again, if you want to make this nice and hot. Some peri-peri in here, some cayenne would be nice. Whatever the kind of spice sort of profile you fancy, you can season there, but you do need to definitely start with the salt and pepper.
And here on my side, I mean, as you did see, I had salt, I had some butter in there, and I'm adding my little cream slowly but surely into the mashed potato, just so that I can make sure that it is creamy quite evenly all throughout that mash. There's nothing more hectic than having a spoon of mash that's nothing but cream, and then the next spoon is nothing but potato. We want it to be quite evened up quite nicely here, and it's just that easy, good to go.
Yeah. So I'm just going to dredge. We say dredge in flour. Now, the secret to doing this and not getting your hands covered is to keep one hand free. So you use one hand for the egg and the flour.
Ah.
And then you use the other hand
For the bread.
for the breadcrumbs.
Now, you see, me in my kitchen, I'm always like...
Well, you end up with those big, thick fingers that are ready to deep fry themselves.
Absolutely. Dumi, here's some mashed potato.
Okay, so now I'm just going to... I've got some nice oil here. It's quite hot. And I'm just going to shallow fry this. So there's about probably 5 mils of oil in here. So we get... There we go.
What's the trick to making sure, chef, that your chicken doesn't get dry?
I think you've got to make sure your oil is nice and hot, and also you've got enough oil. So that, as you can see, we're not quite deep frying it, but there's get a nice coating of oil, so it's actually the heat surrounding the chicken. It'll cook much faster. There we go.
Oh, wow, it's already starting to brown.
Yeah.
It's almost immediately as soon as it hits that hot oil. Now, chicken is definitely the winner this week, and we just can't get enough of it. And in case you want to get your hands on this mouth-watering dish, then head over to afternoonexpress.co.za for the full recipe and ingredients list. Now, ginger is an essential winter ingredient, and we've got a special ginger pudding and custard recipe coming your way.
There have been many iconic adverts in South Africa over the years, but very few will remain firmly entrenched in our hearts forever. You can't mention a classic advert without mentioning it's not inside, it's on top. Not only does it evoke a sense of nostalgia, but it really takes you back to the simpler days gone by. Well, Nestlé Cremora has remade the classic ad, and this time around, it's not just one ad, it's 5. Yep, you heard right. There is 5 brand new adverts reimagining what the classic ad would look like in the new South Africa. To chat to us about the brand new 5 ads, we are joined by the cast. Hi guys, welcome to the show. I'm really excited about this, and I absolutely love the old Cremora ad. It takes me back to those good old days. And without wasting any further time, I think it's only fair that we show this exclusive a sneak peek into the brand new ads I've been talking about. Watch this.
Tea and Cremora. Ooh-wee. Cremora. Oh, she knows how much I love my...
Cremora tastes so rich and creamy, you'd expect to find it in the fridge.
Where are you? Baby, there's no Cremora in the fridge.
It's not inside, it's on top.
It's not inside, it's on top.
Get that Cremora feeling
From Nestlé.
Those are brilliant and really reflect the South Africa that we live in today. Now, you at home can let us know what you thought of these new ads that we just showed you on our show today. All you need to do is tag us on social media using the hashtag #everyoneincluded and tell us what you thought. Now, before we go too far, guys, I need to have a bit of a chat with you guys. Eric, I want to come to you first, right? How does it feel being part of the remake of such a famous ad?
It's a bit surreal still to have been part of this whole process. I mean, like you said, it's such an iconic ad. It's something we grew up with, and now to sort of be able to redo it and be part of it again from the beginning with all these amazing people. It's a bit mad. I look at it and I go like, wow, we're actually there. We actually did this.
Now, Nomsa, I need to come to you, right? You are on TV. We've seen you on TV a couple of times. We love your work. Do you want to just talk us through the experience and being part of this campaign?
You know that I'm not secretive about my life, and I've been open about my life. And I was taken aback when I was approached to be part of this beautiful Cremora ad. It's not every day you find a queer woman in a Cremora ad, Nestlé Cremora ad. And I feel so proud, and I feel so humbled by this, being part of this campaign.
Now, I need to come to our beautiful couple, PHETOGO and TAKARA. Now, you guys went to the same school, have been together since then. You guys are happily engaged right now in your loving life. What was the experience like being part of this ad for you?
When we heard that we were going to be part of such an iconic ad, I think part of us didn't believe it. We were such... Like, we were like giddy little kids. So just being a part of an ad that our parents remember, that we remember growing up, it's incredible. And we're so lucky to be a part of it.
Yes, I mean, we're so excited. I was excited and nervous when we got the opportunity, and like here we are just being us, we're just glad we get to share this experience and get to form part of this beautiful campaign.
Oh, that's really beautiful. And I have to come to you, MMATEMA, as well. I think you have a beautiful career that you've set for yourself. You have, not only you're a singer, you do so much. What was your experience like shooting this ad?
I think I have been honored and blessed because this is my first ever, literally first ever ad ever, and I get to be part of the biggest, the most iconic ad in the world. But more than anything, I think it's very, very bold for these big brands such as Nestlé to be championing such controversial and quite big moves like this. I mean, who would have thought that in 2021 a black South African woman would be doing such an iconic classic such as It's Not Inside, It's On Top, right? What a time to be alive. So we're really, really honored. It's a great pleasure.
Now, that was the cast for the brand new Cremora ad, chatting to us about the adverts and the Nestlé Cremora Joy of Inclusion campaign. You guys at home can join in the conversation as well. All you need to do is use the hashtag #everyoneincluded and let us know what you thought of these ads and what Joy of Inclusion means to you.
Express yourself.
on, we met the 4 cast members of the remake of the iconic Nestlé It's Not Inside, It's On Top ad, and we love it. We are now going to speak to Nicole Roos, who is the Business Executive Officer for Nestlé South Africa, and another member of the cast, PALESA. Nicole, so lovely to have you on the show, and we are going to start with you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here with you.
I'm sure this is a question at the top of many South African minds right now. What made Nestlé Cremora decide to remake this iconic It's Not Inside, It's On Top ad?
I'm glad that you love the old ads. I'm so happy that it really evokes that sense of nostalgia. It does for us too. Nestlé Cremora has been a part of South African lives for years now. And because we're a brand with such strong South African heritage, we believe that we really have an important role to play in shaping and driving the cultures, and especially in the communities in which we live. And when we were reflecting on what we wanted the brand narrative to be going forward, we kept coming back to how iconic this previous work was and how these ads were products of their time. We also know that South Africa has come such a long way since then, and we really wanted to hone in on the positive progress that we've achieved as a nation. And then we thought, well, what if we reimagined that old iconical work and we reflected a bit on how would it look now? And we sort of came into the space on this journey of inclusivity, and we thought, well, could we remind South Africans of how far we've come and spark some more conversations about what we still need to do to drive inclusion for South Africans? And so that's a bit how the campaign came about.
That is absolutely beautiful, Nicole, just giving people a voice. I love what you said there about South Africans wanting to be, wanting the freedom to be themselves and the freedom to let others be themselves. I think that is very powerful, especially given our painful past and the discrimination that certain groups of society experience even to this day. Now, I want to know as well, why was this bold and progressive move so important for the brand?
And so firstly, brands must reflect the culture in which they live, and brands also play such a crucial role in redefining culture, and in our view, good and great work should really mimic the times in which that particular piece of advertising is taking place. So creativity can be such an amazing conjugate, a way to engage and involve people and be part of conversations about the kind of world and the kind of South Africa that we want to live in. And so, inclusivity matters, and we see that in our business, and as brands, we really embrace that. As marketeers, we embrace that, and we believe that it is our responsibility to really ensure that it reflects in our work, and it really speaks to the social values of our brands. People on your show can also visit and join the conversation. So either on www.cremora.co.za, everyone's included. We can watch the ads there, but more importantly, we can also join the conversation. So at Cremora SA or on the hashtag everyone's included. So hashtag everyone's included. We'd love for your viewers to tell us what they think, and more importantly, what joy of inclusion means to each one of you.
Nicole, thank you so much for making time to talk to us. I cannot wait to see all these ads on my telly.
Thank you.
Up next, we are chatting to PALESA, who is the 5th cast member in the ads. Hello, PALESA, and welcome to the Loft.
Thank you so much for having me. What a time to be alive. I'm super excited to be on your show, and hello to you and all your viewers.
Now, I need to just ask you a couple of questions. You are a thriving entrepreneur in the property, manufacturing, and communications sector. And, of course, you are absolutely gorgeous, I might say. Now, can I ask you just to talk to us about your experience being part of this campaign?
My experience has been fantastic so far. I mean, for a brand like Nestlé and Cremora, to take the bold step to focus on inclusion and transformation, and to think of me and utilizing me in this campaign is absolutely amazing. It speaks to my brand and everything that I've been saying about inclusion and transformation. And on top of that, speaking for myself as a woman with albinism, we face so many challenges. There's so many stumbling blocks, so many doors that are still closed. And I'm super excited that they saw it fit to incorporate me in this campaign. And it is such a classic ad, and I'm a big fan of Cremora. It's not inside, it's on top.
Thank you so much for being part of this and talking to us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and have an awesome day further.
Thank you, Palesa. Now, like Palesa said, what a time to be alive. That was a lot of fun having to get a sneak peek of these ads and to meet the talented team behind this brilliant campaign. If you would like to watch the ads, all you need to do is go on to cremora.co.za/everyone's included.
Custard cake and Cremora. Cremora. Where is it? She knows I love to bake with my Cremora. And then she hides it. Cremora, where are you?
Cremora tastes so rich and creamy, you'd expect to find it in the fridge.
Babe, there's no Cremora in the fridge.
It's not inside, it's on top.
It's not inside, it's on top.
Get that Cremora feeling from Nestlé.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, Chef Dumi, we've got so many chicken dishes on the menu. So you've got something sweet for us.
Yes, Palesa, we needed to add a bit of extra flavor to this array of dishes today. So we're making a delicious ginger pudding with some custard.
Oh, I mean, when it comes to desserts, we want it hot, we want it sweet, and we want it warm, both for the belly and the heart. So today we're doing just that by making a special ginger pudding served with some creamy Clover Classic custard. And on that note, before we get into it, you know, I just want that money shot. I
money shot, Bali.
Essentially, this Clover Classic custard, decadent, good for any dessert.
Any dessert, Palesa. It's just beautiful. You can serve it on top. You can put it inside your desserts. It's actually perfect. And to get started with our dessert, Bali, what I've got over here is I'll be making the sauce. So this sauce starts off with a bit of butter, some dried ginger, preserved ginger, some treacle sugar, as well as some cream and some ginger beer. That all goes into the sauce that we're going to serve this pudding with. And then, Chef, you've got the actual pudding.
Yes, I've got the pudding. I've got the actual pudding. I'm making, it's like a nice batter. So we've just got some flour, some self-raising flour and some additional bicarb just to give it more lift. Yeah. Then we've got our molasses sugar here. We've got some treacle sugar as well. And then just to give it a nice ginger kick, we've got some ground ginger. That's going to go in there. So that's our dry ingredients. Let's just mix those up together.
Now, Chef, you mentioned 2 different types of sugars that I personally am not familiar with. I'm not quite sure how they add or, you know, add another dimension to this recipe.
Okay, well, they're unrefined sugars, so they've got a much more dark, almost licoricey kind of flavour to it. So they add a nice richness to the pudding as opposed to using just normal ground sugar. Beautiful. And also they add to the colour as well. So now we're going to add our 3 eggs.
You've got the dried preserved ginger for us, Palesa, and you're going to be chopping it nicely into the pudding that Chef is going to be making because, yes, we called it a ginger pudding. We've got the powder in there, but it's so beautiful to bite into a chunk of ginger when you're having a dessert of this kind, you know.
And that glacé ginger is nice and sweet as well, and it really be nice little surprise chunks in our pudding.
So when it comes to these bite-sized pieces of this preserved ginger, how big or small should I have?
I would say this you could probably do the same, or have a taste until... The best thing to do would be to taste it and see what you think. How much of that would you like to bite into?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's delicious.
Lovely, yeah?
Woo! But then the fieriness almost comes in immediately. So, okay, I'm so glad you just told me just to have a taste because it's going to need to be a little smaller.
Yeah, spot on.
Woo! As I'm kicking my everything into action, into gear here, as I keep chopping, Dumi, how far are you on that side?
I've just added our ginger as well in here, Palesa, with that molasses sugar. And I mean, you're busy enjoying that ginger, but isn't it beautiful to know that you can still get so much nutrients in a dessert because you've got the ginger powder, we've got the preserved ginger, and we've got this ginger beer. So just knowing that you're still getting all those nutrients in there.
It's a lovely wintry flavour as well.
It's beautiful. So into the sauce, before I add everything else, we want to make sure that the sugar dissolves. And then into that, I'm going to go in with my cream and then finish it off with some ginger beer. And this sauce, together with our custard, Palesa, just takes this dessert to a whole other level.
Okay. Now...
Okay, so what I've done is I've added my eggs, then I've added some buttermilk and some melted butter, and now I'm just folding in the fabulously, expertly chopped chunks of ginger that are going to make this dish what it is. I'm going to add this batter into my greased molds. We've just given a little spray with a little bit of spray and cook. And then I'm just going to pop a nice dollop into each one.
Palesa, you remember last week we made a a self-sourcing dessert.
Yeah.
So this could also work like that, a self-sourcing pudding where we poured the sauce on top of the dessert. So in this instance, because we're making this sauce as well, so instead of waiting to pour it at the very end, you could also do it now where you pour it into the mold before it bakes, and that makes it all nice and gooey and juicy in the center.
And you'll notice we're not filling the molds up
all the way,
because it is going to rise up in the oven, and we don't want it to mushroom out. We want it to look nice and sexy. So we're just about 2/3 of the way of our mold. There we go.
And this is pretty much good to go. Now, Chef Ntumi, when this does go into the oven, for how long and what temperature? I think I've got a little bit of an inkling, though.
I think it's safest to go for like 25 to 30 minutes because of the type of recipe we're saying. But obviously, one thing I can say, if you're going to be making a self-sourcing pudding again, what you would then do is put it in a bain-marie so it gets nice and steamy in there.
And err on the side of caution, because this is rather have it a little bit doughy and a little bit sticky than overcooking it and it drying out. Because
Beautiful.
Mm.
It's perfect on its own. Now, while Chef enjoys his batter, this sounds absolutely delicious. I love the fact that Dumi has already prepared its own sauce that we can create and add to the texture in this dish. But I'm also loving the fact that we're using Clover Classic Custard because it's beautiful to enjoy as an accompaniment to any dessert because it's so versatile, but it's also delicious on its own. Dumi, enjoy that. Now, to get that recipe, just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic!
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste. Made with love by Clover.
Well, when we come back, we've got another story in our own words, and then we're going to be winners with our chicken dinners.
Our pharmacies are on the front line of healthcare. This is Pharmacy of the Week.
Well, Murray Square has been part of this community for over 50 years. I remember coming here as a kid with my parents and getting medicine. I even worked here as a student, and now I'm back again working here. And Les, our manager, he's given his whole life to this pharmacy. I think he's always worked here, and he'll go out of his way to help everybody who comes through the door. During the recent unrest, our store was completely looted. They actually made a call not to open on that Monday, and so we were all at home and we saw the videos of our store, and it was heartbreaking. But some of the staff came on the Wednesday, before it was even safe to be here. We came in and we were organizing and tidying up. Then we had to leave early because there was hints of trouble again. But then after that, some of the staff were very, very hardworking, and we got the whole store cleaned up with the support of Adcock Ingram and some others. Adcock got stock here very quickly for us. Other people chipped in, and we were up and running within 4 days. So that was quite amazing. In between the cleaning, we were serving customers however we could. There were bits and pieces of stock left behind. We were trading with no tills and no computers, but doing our best to help the community.
Pharmacy of the Week, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
Afternoon Express Masterclass, where it's my favorite time of the afternoon. It's time to get eating. So, Chef, before we start eating, do you mind reminding us, what did we make?
Okay, so we started off with our peri-peri drumsticks with a little bit of garlic bread. Then we stuffed the chicken whole, put it in the oven. Then we leapt onto our chicken schnitzel with some pepper sauce. And, of course, last and our favorite is our lovely ginger pudding with the custard.
Like a hearty soup provides goodness to nourish our bodies, reading great stories provides goodness to nourish our minds. They inspire children to read in their own home language and then later on learn to read other stories in other languages too. That's why Cadbury Dairy Milk has called on you to play a part by translating words into home languages to help co-author a children's library full of African language storybooks. We have Precious Kanyile Matemula on video call with us today as she'll be sharing with us her Siswati story for the week that has created from your translated words. So gather the kids and get comfortable as we're about to hear a magical story about a lonely snake. Welcome to the loft, Precious.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, Precious, as someone who is just well-versed in the Siswati language, how important is this campaign to you, everything that Cadbury is doing?
Mother's language is very important to our kids. They make things easy for them to understand.
Precious, now, as you have explained quite beautifully how important this initiative is, do you mind telling us the name of the story you're about to read? And just go on and read it for us, girl.
Okay, the story name is Inyoka Lenesitunge. Wasukasukela. Wakhala umfana nyoka. Ngesikhathi umfana nyoka aphuma phasi emgodini wakhe ayodlala. Tonke tilwane betibaleka. Kilongi wandiza wayohlala egaleni lesihlahla lesisetulu kakhulu. Emagundwane acuma abaleka. Umfana nguNgumbane wayenzetela wabuyela emuva esidlekeni sakhe. Kungani letinye tilwane tingangithandzi mina yemake. Wakhala umfana nyoka. Sonke isikhathi nangiphumela ngaphandle ngiyodlala nato tiyabaleka tingakangibingeleli tingangikhulumisi. Sebake beva tindzaba letimbi ngetinyoka letilwane ticabanga kutsi tinyoka atikalungi tiyasisaba thina. Kwasho make nyoka. Umfana nyoka abetibukela asemva kwelidvala lelinye tilwane ngesikhathi tidlala tindzawonye. Tibukeka shengatsi tijabule kakhulu, washo yena kabuhlungu. Umfana nyoka weva kukhala wahuma wasonzela. Umhlambi wemayawudlu endzabushe bewusinata uphindze futhi ukhafulela umntfwana nguNgumbane. Umfana nyoka wahuma wasonzela. Letihonga tabaleka tetfuka kakhulu tagijima tabaleka ngalesikhulu sivinini. Ngiyabonga, kwasho nguNgumbane endondotela. Kude inkinga kwahaza umfana nyoka. Hlala nami, leto tilwane angeke tiphindze futhi tikuchochode. Kuze kube ngunamuhla inyoka nanguNgumbane bahlala kanye ngekujabula. Cosi iyaphela.
Precious, you read that with all the animation. I felt like I was in the story. But for some of our viewers who might not understand your language, can you just explain very briefly what the story was about?
So this story is about the little snake. So she came back home crying. Why are the other animals don't want to play with me? The mother explained to her they have terrible stories about us snakes. They think we are very bad. So she used to watch over a rock while other animals were playing there. So one day, an
another animal was crying. He had a little cry. So he went there and checked. So when she checked, she found out that the bull is bullying other animals. So he went there and scared away the bullies. So even today, the hedgehog and the snakes, they are pretty good friends.
Wow.
So that's the story.
I mean, how brilliant indeed.
That's great.
What I love about these stories is that it seems like they always have a happy ending at the end of the day, but that's what it's all about. Now play your part and translate a word to help ensure that all children can enjoy enchanting African language tales in their own home language, just like the powerful Siswati story Precious just read for us. Don't forget to visit www.cadbury.co.za and at Cadbury Dairy Milk SA on Facebook or at Cadbury_SA on Twitter and Instagram to start sharing your own words today. From incredible children's tales to this meal, Chef, I mean, I'm saying thank you for having a fresh face on Afternoon Express, because if this is the flavor you're packing in the menu, I'm here for it. Now, what was your highlights? What is your favorite dish so far?
I like the chicken schnitzel with the pepper sauce, but for me, the fiery drumsticks were the best. That was my favorite.
I haven't got onto the fiery drumsticks. I'm loving myself the schnitzel. Dumi?
Same. I'm with Chef. The drumsticks are divine, PALESA. And you know, I don't like my stuff too spicy, but the heat is just perfect.
Now, we were asking tangy, lemon and herb, peri-peri.
Definitely peri-peri. Give it some heat.
Lemon and herb.
Just like that. Now keep your comments going and use that hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Now there's no foul play with our incredible chicken recipes. Tune in for more with Chef Charts this Thursday from 5:30 p.m. But until then, Mzansi, good night, stay safe and happy eating. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Here's to baking the winter blues away and trying new adventurous recipes to put the spring back in your step. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.